Everyone knows Medusa, the monster with snakes for hair, the creature whose gaze could turn people into stone, the terrifying beast defeated by the hero Perseus. At least, that's the version most people know. But what if everything you've heard about Medusa is wrong? What if the monster wasn't born a monster? What if she was once one of the most beautiful women in the ancient world? And what if the gods themselves were responsible for her tragic fate? Today, we're uncovering the dark truth about Medusa, a story filled with beauty, jealousy, betrayal, divine punishment, and one of the greatest tragedies in all of Greek mythology. By the end of this video, you may never see Medusa the same way again. To understand Medusa's story, we first need to understand the world she lived in. Ancient Greece was ruled by powerful gods. Zeus ruled the heavens. Poseidon ruled the seas. Hades ruled the underworld. And Athena ruled wisdom, strategy, and war. The gods were worshipped, respected, feared, but they were far from perfect. They could be jealous, proud, angry, and sometimes cruel. Their decisions shaped the lives of mortals. Entire kingdoms rose and fell because of their actions. And unfortunately for Medusa, she would become trapped in one of the most tragic conflicts among the gods. Most people don't know that Medusa wasn't always a monster. In many versions of the myth, she began life as a mortal woman. And not just any woman. She was said to be one of the most beautiful women in all of Greece. Her beauty was legendary. People traveled from distant lands just to see her. Poets praised her appearance. Artists tried to capture her beauty. And among all her features, her hair was considered the most beautiful. Long, golden, radiant. It seemed like she had everything. But sometimes the things that make us admired can also place us in danger. Medusa became a priestess in the temple of Athena. She devoted her life to serving the goddess. She lived a life of discipline and worship. Her future seemed bright, until one day, she caught the attention of someone she never should have attracted. Poseidon, the god of the sea, one of the most powerful beings in existence. And according to one famous version of the myth, Poseidon's obsession with Medusa would destroy her life forever. What happened next remains one of the most debated stories in Greek mythology. Different ancient writers tell the story differently. Some early myths describe Medusa as a monster from birth, but later versions tell a darker and more tragic story. According to these accounts, Poseidon pursued Medusa, and inside Athena's sacred temple, something terrible happened. The temple was desecrated. Athena discovered what had taken place, and this is where the story takes a shocking turn. Athena did not punish Poseidon. Instead, she punished Medusa. For thousands of years, people have asked the same question. Why? Why would the goddess of wisdom punish Medusa instead of the powerful god responsible? Some scholars believe Athena blamed Medusa for violating the sanctity of her temple. Others argue that Athena could not directly challenge Poseidon because he was one of the most powerful Olympian gods. Whatever the reason, the consequences were devastating. Medusa's life would never be the same. Athena unleashed a curse unlike anything the world had ever seen. Medusa's beautiful golden hair transformed into living snakes. Her appearance became horrifying, and her eyes gained a terrifying power. Anyone who looked directly into them would instantly turn to stone. Imagine losing everything overnight. Imagine waking up to discover that your face terrified everyone around you. Imagine realizing that anyone who looked at you would die. The woman once admired for her beauty became feared as a monster. People fled from her. Kings feared her. Heroes hunted her. And eventually, Medusa was driven into exile. She wandered far from civilization, far from the temples, far from the people she once knew. She was forced to live in isolation, alone, forgotten, and feared. Yet something about the curse is interesting. Athena didn't simply make Medusa ugly. She made her powerful. No warrior could easily defeat her. No king could control her. No army could approach her safely. Some modern interpretations suggest that Athena's curse may have been more complicated than simple punishment. Perhaps it was also protection, a terrible and lonely form of protection, but protection nonetheless. Medusa was not alone in the world of monsters. She had sisters, the Gorgons, Stheno, Euryale, and Medusa. Yet there was one important difference. Stheno and Euryale were immortal. Medusa was mortal, and because she could die, she became the target of countless heroes seeking glory. Stories of the snake-haired Gorgons spread throughout Greece. With every retelling, the legend grew larger. People spoke of a creature whose gaze could destroy entire armies, a monster whose face could kill with a single glance. And eventually, these stories reached the ears of a young hero named Perseus. Perseus was given an impossible mission: bring back the head of Medusa. Many warriors had tried. None had returned. The task seemed impossible. But Perseus had something others did not: the support of the gods. Athena gave him a polished shield. Hermes provided divine assistance. Other magical gifts helped prepare him for the journey. Armed with these treasures, Perseus set out to face the most feared creature in Greece. When he finally reached Medusa's lair, he knew one thing: looking directly at her meant certain death. So he used Athena's shield as a mirror, watching her reflection instead of her face. Slowly, carefully, he approached. Some versions say Medusa was sleeping. Others say she sensed danger too late. But all versions agree on what happened next. With a single strike, Perseus severed Medusa's head. The monster was dead, or so it seemed, because even in death, Medusa's story was not over. Something extraordinary happened. From Medusa's blood emerged two beings: Pegasus, the magnificent winged horse, and Chrysaor, a powerful warrior. Even in death, Medusa continued to create legends, and her severed head retained its terrifying power. Perseus carried it with him, using it against enemies, turning warriors into stone, defeating monsters, crushing those who stood in his path. The head of Medusa became one of the most powerful weapons in Greek mythology. Eventually, Perseus returned it to Athena, and here comes one final twist. Athena placed Medusa's head onto her shield, the Aegis. The very goddess who cursed Medusa would forever carry her image into battle, a symbol of fear, power, and protection. So what is the dark truth about Medusa? The answer depends on which version of the myth you believe. To some, she was always a monster. To others, she was a victim transformed by forces beyond her control. But perhaps that's why her story remains so powerful today, because it forces us to ask difficult questions. Who deserves blame? Who deserves justice? And how often does history remember only one side of a story? For centuries, Medusa was known simply as a monster. Today, many people see something different: a tragic figure, a symbol of suffering, a woman caught in the struggles of gods, far more powerful than herself, and perhaps one of the most misunderstood characters in all mythology. The next time you see Medusa depicted as a monster, remember this: before the snakes, before the curse, before the legends, there was a woman, and her story may be far more tragic than the myths ever admitted. So what do you think? Was Medusa truly a monster? Or was she one of the greatest victims in Greek mythology? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey into the darker side of mythology, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more untold stories from the ancient world. Until next time, remember that every legend has another side to the story.